they suit those two types of profile, I think, quite well. The type of profile they don't suit, in my opinion, is amortization. Bit of a difficult one to say that. So today we're over at our Hove office for our Charles Cox staff and Stone & Block Management, which are a couple of companies that we own, and they primarily do block management related stuff, although we do lots of property things from here. So this is the Knoll Business Centre here, and it's a serviced office. And again, as I was mentioning in the other clips, that serviced offices for us are really useful because it allows us to be at kind of multiple locations where the property managers need to be near their properties in Brighton, rather than, say, a central place like our head office over in Newhaven. So this is the Enterprise Centre, and we've been here since about 2018. It's serviced offices, but it suits us really well because we've got lots of opportunity to move around the building, short-term contracts. You can get discounts if you sign up for a bit longer. It gives us lots of flexibility. We've got one big unit, a little meeting room and another office, loads and loads of parking for the clients. So that's really good for like expansion and stuff like that, especially when you've got a lot of people coming and going very quickly, collecting keys or coming for meetings and stuff like that, and a really nice building. And one bonus is the heating is included in the bill, so it doesn't matter how much the staff want to have the heating on, I know where I stand with that, so which is always good. And then this is where the hub of activities happens, all in here, and you can see everybody's busy beavering away. When we bought Stone & Block Management, we started in a very small office where we just had a service desk, registered address, like virtual assistant type stuff. But that office was shared with other people. And as we've purchased that firm, and we still trade as Stoneham and so on, we've amalgamated it with the rest of the Charles Cox staff, and then moved into a slightly bigger unit here. So again, lots of expansion opportunities with this. And one of the big things, which I'll show you as we walk round, is that there's loads of parking here. Being in Brighton, there is like a massive shortage of parking everywhere that anybody would know if they're in Brighton. So you've got this whole site, all goes all the way through up there. Ultimately, this gives a real good flexibility for us as well. You don't get a space with every single unit. Some units are different sizes, and it's pretty much the same case at most service offices. And again, as I say, the beauty of this is that you've got a manned reception desk at the front. You get your post all sorted for you. Everything's included in your fixed rent. So they're really, really good for businesses expanding, or startups, or any size business really, where you need kind of that flexibility. And that's really what you need as a growing business, which is kind of what we are really at the moment. So we're kind of expanding left, right and centre. You'll see when we do go over to our Eastbourne office that that's much more of a shop front arrangement, where we've kind of moved on from the serviced office arrangement. But in Brighton, we are looking to make that next step, which we'll go down to that site and have a look in a little bit. Obviously, you've got this serviced office arrangement where you can move around, you can have a year's agreement, you can have 6 months or even a month, and then it gives you lots of flexibility. But obviously, all of those things that are rolled in, they do come at a cost. So whilst they're nice because you know where you stand with things, obviously you are spending money on rent, and they're useful to test the waters and see how the business is expanding and get your presence known in various other places. Like we're looking at doing another serviced office, or a more detailed service office arrangement up in London at the moment. So one day maybe we will purchase a freehold in London. So yeah, I think in terms of purchasing buildings and the rest of it, it's a really useful stepping stone to you to test the water, make sure the market around here is sufficient enough, you're not oversaturated, or there is a market here, and then you can look to potentially purchase, which is a really tax efficient thing to do in terms of being, whether you own the building or the premise in another name, rent it back to your main trading company, or you decide that you're going to put your trading company and the property in the same name. There are lots of things that you can do in order to make it super tax efficient. So this is the building just coming up here. So we're here at our super cool Willingdon office that we've just opened tail end of 2023. As you can see, it's a lovely UK day. This is March, believe it or not, but anyway, that is what we get in the UK. We're battling with the brollies as well, but branded brollies, as we always like. Always got to get orange and blue in everything, and our little logo on the front there. Thanks to the Logo Emporium, give them a shout out. So this is our offices here. This is actually on the end of a set of arrangement here called the Triangle in Willingdon. It's a fairly easy location for people to find. Lots of parking around here and everything. So if you remember, we had a look at the other office where we were previously, near the dog parlour and upper fire escape and the rest of it. As you can see, it's a lot easier for us to access. We can get window displays, our signage up here, so like a complete game changer in sense of what we're looking at. We've got the electric charging point as well for electric vehicles to try and be a bit eco about things. And the good thing about this particular office was that the previous uses have all been kind of estate agency, letting agency, property companies, architects, all that sort of stuff. So we still get quite a lot of people come in thinking that maybe we're part of that, or we bought them out or something like that, or whatever it is. And this is like a little community Willingdon here. So they put all their own Christmas tree lights up all in this kind of area around here and so on, and the rest of it. And then we joined in. So it's a real nice community feel around here and gives us a nice bit of exposure. And as you can hear behind me, fairly busy road, so pretty obvious to see at night. So you can see how, you know, this is so much better than where we were before, but obviously we had to do that office first of all to discover if it was actually going to be worthwhile opening something like this in Eastbourne. A little bit fortuitous, we came across this building. Laura, who works in our management department, she was tasked with trying to find a new premise, found this building. It obviously ticks all of those boxes. There were other things for us to look at the time, but yeah, great building here. And other Laura who works there, shout out to her for arranging for the door to be painted orange. Do like that to make that stand out a little bit. And we've got seating for about 6 people here, a little meeting room. So it's a really good satellite office for us to expose the brand. Right, I think we better get in. I think it's really good to look at the serviced office space as well as commercial frontage. Obviously, every business will be different. Some will require, like a shop front, if you like, with all the flashy lights around it. Others will be very much internet based, so they will rely upon their SEO in order to generate leads. That's where those sort of businesses are quite good with the serviced offices. I think the key things to look out for them, like the pros and cons, I suppose. We touched on a lot of the pros. The parking tends to be quite good at these buildings, flexibility of the terms, the fact you don't have to pay for anything, you don't have to deal with the toilets and the kitchens and all that kind of stuff, and then you've got breakout areas, and it can make you seem like a bit of a bigger business than you are, and the flexibility. The cons, in my experience, are generally the contracts tend to be fairly intensive, like, you've got to repair the inside of it when you leave, like if you damaged it a bit, so you need to watch out for that. Spillages on the carpets and stuff like that, where so you've got staff that drop coffee. It just happens. It's not moan at anybody, but that's part of life. But they will sting you for that, because the next person that comes in will take it in completely mint condition. And then there'll be things like you'll get interest if you don't pay on time, or fines or whatever. A lot of them, like the Knoll Business Centre, they run a car parking, like a ticketing thing where you have to come and put your number plate in, so just make sure your clients have done that, otherwise they'll get a ticket and then it leaves a bad taste in their mouth. And then really just things like the fact that you've got to remember you're in a service building, so you can't like litter it with your own advertising. As you would have seen, our place in New Haven, likely they allow us to put these little plaques up with our actual logo on, whereas like here they have a different thing where everything kind of looks the same, and it's just these black plaques with the kind of Charles Cox wording on it, or Stoneham wording. So they've got their pros and cons, as opposed to say where we look at One Wellington. Obviously we're going to be responsible for the upkeep and the maintenance of the building. So if the front door doesn't work properly, or the toilets need cleaning or whatever, then we have to do that ourselves. But obviously, as I've explained, as a business, we've got lots of different revenues, ability to pull on different bits of the business. So we have a cleaner and a cleaning company, we have a maintenance company and so on, so we can keep those costs down. That in itself lends itself much more towards us being able to make those sort of situations quite cost effective. Kind of great client from this is probably businesses of two types of sizes. So your startups, they're classic. There'll be a lot of startups here, or businesses with less than like 4 employees. They're perfect. They'll be littered all across these sort of businesses. But it's also very good for businesses that are needing satellite offices. So you might have a big head office in London, but you might want one in Manchester and then one down in the West Country or whatever over in Dover or something like that. But not really know whether it's a long-term thing. So you don't want to be buying a building, a big asset like that, when you're not even sure if the market's there or the property price that you're paying. It needs a lot of research to it and so on. So a very quick, easy win is to go and do a serviced office. They tend to be very short leases on them. So they suit those two types of profile, I think, quite well. The type of profile they don't suit, in my opinion, is someone needing a shop frontage. So you can't really run a cafe or a bookstore or clothes shop or something like that. They're very difficult businesses to run from serviced offices, or businesses that just require any kind of constant deliveries coming and going. So if you're like an electrician and you're getting massive solar panels delivered left, right and centre, you're going to struggle for a lot of centres to accommodate that, really. Thank you for joining us on this journey. I'd be really grateful if you could comment or get involved with any of the interactive things on the social media. So please don't forget to subscribe, comment below, press that like button, give it a little tickle, it turns it blue, and then that's magic for us, and it will hopefully help us grow the channel.